Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Hi, Kim.
Hello. I am just trying to get us going live on Facebook, but it's not wanting to cooperate with me, so we might just do this and we can record it and post it afterwards. It looks like it's working. So I will let everyone in as they come. I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long. So welcome to our September Dress for Success Town Hall. This is the first town hall we've had in a couple of months. So I'm really excited to see everybody again and let you know that, how many wonderful things have happened since we were together last. So I think the last town hall we had was in June. And since then, we did a night at the runway with Kevin Kelly Salon in Keyport. Virgil Vigil was the designer. And with their support and help, our organization raised $5,000.
Wow.
It was just fantastic. They did everything for us, and I will tell you, they did not hold anything back. I mean, it was an event to remember. So if you are ever in the Keyport area or you know people in that area, please help promote Kevin Kelly Salon because they just really, really went above and beyond for us. Shortly after that, we held our virtual power walk, and thank all of you who participated and had teams and just did your thing to get the word out to everybody. We could not have done as well as we did without your support. We actually raised $23,339.
That's fantastic.
Yes, and that doesn't include employee matches. And we're still tracking down some monies that went accidentally to Worldwide. So we may even do better than that. So money is still actually coming in from the walk. And again, that it just was a tremendous success because of the support that we had from our volunteers and you guys. And just thank you for that. Shortly after that, we jumped right in and started planning for our 25th anniversary. And we will celebrate our 24th anniversary in just under a month on October 18th. And our plan really is to infuse messaging about our 25th anniversary in each of the programs and events that we have, such as the Women's Leadership Summit, Pocketbook Bingo, our virtual power walk. And then in the fall of next year, we're going to kick off our anniversary with a special event. We had discussed as part of the planning session, potentially doing a fashion show and doing some kind of cocktails and couture event, which I think would be really exciting. So we're just trying to iron out some details and do a lot of behind the scenes stuff to really get planning seriously on that. And I think what'll happen is that we'll start meeting probably every other week as a group, and then we'll break out into smaller groups. So that's moving forward. And so, of course, aside from planning the special events that we have, Dress for Success is remaining laser focused on our programming. And for those of you who know Willa Edgerton Chisler, you might recognize her here on the call. She is a longstanding member of the Dress for Success community, our Steps to Success coordinator, my fireside chat co-host, and a whole bunch more. So welcome, Willa. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So last Saturday, Willa, we launched Heels at Berkeley College. It was wonderful to return to live programming. It just felt good. It felt right. But before we talk about Heels, I'd like to give a little bit more context and history to the group about Steps to Success and how that started, and then we can get into how Heels came out of all that. So I'm going to turn it to you to tell us a little bit about all that history.
Oh, what a history.
Yes.
What a history. In essence, the Job Career Boot Camp started in 2010 with Walmart. And Walmart gave Dress for Success, the organization, a very large grant to do a career boot camp. And we did that for 6 years.
And that was the Going Places Network,
It was the
right?
Going Places Network, yes, it was. It was the Going Places Network. And we finished that program. And one of our sponsors, who we love very dearly, ADP, was hosting our final class. And they were made aware of that was the final Going Places Network boot camp. And as the universe would have it, they stepped up and said, well, we love Dress for Success, Northern New Jersey. What is it that you need? Because we've got to keep this program going. So we ended up in 2017 doing Steps to Success. We had to do a redesign of the program and put together different components to the program. And I'm one of those types of people who get bored very easily. So I've got to make it fresh and new every year. So each year we've added different elements to the program. The significant difference about Steps to Success that I will tell you that most career boot camps are now modeling after, right, Kim?
Yep.
Is our assessment tool that we have on assessment, then also the ability to have artificial intelligence interviewing. So that's what we're doing now. So fast forward, 2017, we're doing our Steps to Success, then tiptoe into 2020, 2021, here comes COVID. So what are we going to do? So we went virtual. Our classes were virtual, and then we even did a night version of the Steps class.
Right. I remember when we first started, it was like 3 hours.
It's
with the
3 hours
intense.
on a Saturday. Yes, it's 3
And then
hours
we
on a
said,
Saturday.
oh, that might be a little much. People are getting zoomed out, Zoom fatigue. And then we broke it down in the next cohort and we did I think,
Right.
Tuesdays and Thursdays
It was
virtually.
Tuesday, Thursdays, 90-minute spots. And then Kim says to me, well, are we ready to go live? And I said, yeah, I think we're ready to go live. Let me get over this breast cancer for a minute and start and figure this out. So in between my medical, I started thinking about what is it that women need when it comes down to careers. And what happens is they have great resumes, they understand how to interview, but they're dealing in what we call, you may have heard this term, imposter syndrome.
Yep.
And they lack confidence. And they also lack the ability of knowing who they are and what their strengths are and what their behaviors are, and even when you're meeting other people. So what I came up with in the programming for Steps to Success, this cohort, which happens to be number 27, is, did I say 27?
It's 27.
Oh my gosh. 27th cohort, we're doing live and virtual both. So the participants client members that are in the program, they get to do steps. Steps didn't go away. We have resume, we have interviewing, we have LinkedIn, we have how to be polished online.
Tonight is transferable skills, in fact.
Right, and transferable skills. We did that. And then we added this other side to it called HEALS.
So what does HEALS stand for?
HEALS stands for hopeful, engaged, empowered leaders. Want them to become empowered and be engaged in building community, gaining clarity as to who they are, being able to collaborate, creating a community. The Dress for Success Northern New Jersey community is large. And we really don't take advantage of just how big we are, right? But they need to be able to feel comfortable in learning how to do that. And so the next 5 weeks, we will be going into what it is. They're going to do a strengths assessment, and then they're also going to do a behavior assessment. And on top of that, they're going to have coaches. One of them is here right now. Hi, Debbie. We're going to have coaches help them help themselves in moving into that next phase, that they come out more confident than when they came in.
Absolutely. And then with the confidence on
You were there Saturday, Kim.
yeah.
What did you think of the class, the orientation in the class and the
So
participants?
it's always moving. I think what I would want to highlight to people who aren't familiar with steps or heels or the community is that we are all on a journey for whatever reason, wherever we're at in that journey. Some people that are coming into our sisterhood are coming in brand new, never having had a career before, maybe fresh out of high school, fresh out of college. You have some that may be first generation here. Then you've got those who maybe have been in entry level or looking to transition into something else, advance their career. We've seen homemakers, we've seen women who haven't worked in decades come back and say, I need to get in the workforce. We've seen women get downsized and
Right.
are now saying, what do I do? And then we've got women that are saying, you know what? I hate what I've done for the last 20 years. And I want to change that. And I want to do something else. But no matter where they are professionally, consistently through all of them, the lack of confidence for whatever reason, whether they ever had it or whether it was taken away or shaken, the confidence is the piece that weaves everyone. And I think that having that sisterhood and that network there to continually boost it is really the secret ingredient that makes the program so special and powerful. And I think for me, the orientation is always, it's a tearful moment because you see people coming in raw as they are, where they are. And then by the end, you see this transformation that it's indescribable, honestly. And
I won't tell you what I do to them outside.
yeah, oh, no. But it's really a beautiful thing. And to see that confidence and to know that that is the beginning, it's not the end when the program's over. It is the beginning of a successful journey. And we'll continue to support them in that. So I love that.
Yeah. So that's so we're going to start our first class is this Saturday, and we end on October 22nd. And we've got our sponsor, ADP, is going to be joining us in facilitating one of the assessments, which we always love. We've got a panel of some volunteers that are going to talk about empowerment strategies. It should be a very good session series. I'm looking forward to coming back. I think if you ever have a chance to get involved in one of these programs when we launch for volunteers, it is one of the most rewarding experiences you can have, to know that you have really touched someone.
Right.
And these women trust us. They trust us with their careers. They trust us to help guide them in that next level. And it is an experience that when they call you up and they tell you, I've got that job, I've landed that job, or I've asked for that raise, or I've left my situation and I've got enough courage, you say, that's my purpose. That's why I was here. I think, Debbie, you could speak to that. You coached one of the clients this last cohort. How is that feeling for you?
Oh, yeah, it's tremendous. I mean, and as we all know, when we search for any kind of job, especially in this environment, it's really so helpful to have a partner. And like you say, the women that we're coaching are really capable. In my situation, it was a woman who was in a job, but it was really a negative situation for her. Boss was not a good one. And so she had to get out. But the question is, what would she do next? And she really wanted to get back to what she had been done previously. So it was, I think I was just a support network, really, as a coach, because she had qualities and capabilities and she had drive. And it was when she finally got the job that she really wanted, it's indescribable in terms of how everybody felt. And, so it's really, I think it's a lot about what Dress for Success really stands for and what you think of it as representing when you sign up to be part of this organization. So.
Right. Thanks, Debbie. I guess, for people who aren't coaches or aren't mentors, often we're asked, how can they support the community before the steps launch or heals, during, after? What can they do to support women? And one of the things that I'm quick to always say is access to jobs. We do the mock interviews, we do speed interviews, we practice, but then there comes a point in time where you don't want practice anymore. You want the real deal. So that's one of the things I ask for. Is there other ways people can support the program?
Yeah. Jobs are very important, because we know the job market has changed.
Yeah.
And it continues to change on how you find out about jobs. Where are the jobs? Now we're finding out that people are being ghosted. There aren't really certain jobs out there, certain things. So it's basically, who do you know?
Yes.
And helping them navigate in this. It's going to change again next year, on finding jobs, helping them get themselves together, get ready, how to prepare. Like they didn't have to worry about virtual interviewing. Now we have to prepare them for that. That's why we have Polished at Work to talk about virtual interviews. Didn't really have to do salary negotiation. We do that because it's important that you don't want to leave the money on the table and value yourself and don't jump at the first offer.
Right.
All of these things keep changing, and to stay current.
Right.
To help them, somebody's got to stay current to help them understand what's going on out here.
Right.
And
Right.
how to help. And to Debbie's point, is to help them.
Right.
Help them help themselves.
Exactly. And one of the things I know Edie and Lorraine work hard on is, getting the jobs out weekly that we find and that kind of thing. And I for a moment, I mean, we just had our fireside chat and we were talking about the difference between coaches and mentors and sponsors. And, so maybe you're not a hiring person, but you see a job or you hear of a job someplace. What is the best step that we can take as individuals and volunteers that support Dress for Success to give our members, a leg up? Is it making that introduction for them on LinkedIn? Is it, what are the little steps that they can do?
Yeah.
And do you think, is it enough to do a LinkedIn, introduction, or is it including their resume, as, making a recommendation, or what's the best way for people to help? Do you have an answer?
So the question is, what is the best way to help someone once they start the process of looking for a job, or how can we help drum up more opportunities or help them see more opportunities.
Right. Like I'm hoping if they reach out that and they maybe are linked in with you at least to say, hey, I'm a member of Dress for Success. This is a job I found. Would you make a introduction or would you send my resume or I don't know if those kinds of things are, I mean, is that enough? Do you think that that's helpful enough or?
I mean, obviously, if we knew people in positions of power at some of the big firms like Atlantic Health or any of the other big pharmaceutical companies or places like that, then if we had that connection, ADP, HP, like any of those, if we had that connection, yeah, it's always helpful. But I think these very specific of finding the job, because the individual has to find the job.
Yeah.
And we can recommend, but the company has to see that the cover letter and the resume address the job description. And I think a lot of people don't do that well enough because they don't know what they have to do. There are tips. And I'm not saying you're kind of gaming the system, but
there are tips, yes.
there are tips. And as a career coach, every resume can be different so that it does fit that job description.
Yep.
Every cover letter should highlight your capabilities. And by the way, there are key words. So like you say, Willa, everything is now automated. If your resume and your cover letter don't have the key words, which most people don't even know these days,
Right.
you're going to get that automatic rejection letter within the day, 24 hours after applying.
Right.
So I think there are tips that we know that can help them at least get to the point where they can speak to a real person
Right.
and put themselves in line, to move through the process.
Yeah.
You might want to think about as this is coming to which a great idea is to your point, Kim, about we don't have coaches. We're like right now I've got an oversubscription of coaches and mentors for this program. But what could they do? People want to volunteer, right? What could they do? They could be that tips coach, that really helps them. Okay, you're getting ready to apply for this job. Do you have these certain things on your resume? Let's take a look at the job. Let's take a look at your resume. Let's take a look at your cover letter to have them ready.
Right.
I think that would be a possibility to think about and how to outline that. I'll think about that in between my other
Yes.
things going in my head
In your
right
free
now.
time.
in my free time. But I think Debbie hit on something that's important because I know from experiencing with some of the women, their resume matches the job and they have frozen.
Yeah.
They won't even apply because, and I'm like, let's talk about it. Are you ready? What are the things you need? Let's look at the resume. Let's look at before you apply, maybe there's somebody, a volunteer that could say, okay, you're ready.
Right.
You're ready. This resume, you got to have a basic resume, but then you have to have one tailored to the job.
Right.
So you've got that person that's looked at it and helped you get that one little piece.
Yep.
Your cover letter needs this, or you need to take this off of your resume. Somebody gave me a resume last night. It was 4 pages long.
Oh, wow.
And she was from HR.
Oh, wow.
So, trying to stay current in all of this, it's hard for people because when you have a job, you're not looking for a job, you don't think about it. And
You're
then
absolutely right.
All right, let me go get my resume together. And I go back to what I learned about resumes and they do the resume. And the next thing you know, they are like, it's like, I gotta tell her, it's wrong.
Right,
You gotta go 2 pages, we gotta cut this out, move this over, you're missing this.
right.
And those are the things that people need.
And I think, it's changed so much. I mean, even from prior to this position and role that I'm in, how long ago before that did I interview? I think it was like 15 years or something like that. Everything changed, all the rules are out the window. So you're right, just staying current. Where, as a member now, how, say you've been unemployed for a while, you haven't been in the market. What are some ways, besides taking these classes, of course, that they could potentially get some information, be it Google, be it, where can they look to just kind of, and I remember at one point you were telling me about the alerts that you could do somehow online with the companies and.
You can put in Google alerts, using certain keywords, right? You could do that. We have on the LinkedIn page, a Working to Get Women Working page where I pretty much put jobs on there. As everything that Edie and Lorraine does, I move it into that page for them to look at. Also, there's a lot of tips there on how to go through interview, how to deal with your resume. Again, some of it is them, but I think a lot of it is us in helping them be accountable.
Right.
And to do the work.
Right.
To do the work, because it is finding a job or finding that next career is a full-time job.
It is. It is.
And but you've got to be smart about it. And you've got to know how to go about finding those certain jobs.
Right.
But you got to do the work. The same way, we're sitting here doing this boot camp. I could not, in good faith, use the same program that I used in 2010.
No.
The market is different.
Right. I think that's part of the value of the programming that we have, is that it does remain up to date, current. We're following trends.
I have to.
And then the other piece that I think is really very valuable is the corporate partnerships that we have, because they're in it. We're connecting our members with hiring managers and people that could potentially be their coworkers, connecting them to, what is happening in the workforce in that industry. I think that that's a really big value compared to other programs that don't have those connections.
Yeah, well, we've done that. We've been very fortunate in that, we've had some very high level successes in that, having Chubb has hired a couple of our women. ADP has done that. A consulting firm hired one of our graduates, and she had the individual on her contract, but then the client that she had stole the contractor and hired permanent. So we've got the talent.
Yeah.
We've got the talent of women anywhere from a GED to a PhD.
It's the truth.
21 to 65 and 70 years old.
Yep.
Okay, that are very talented, experienced women.
Yeah.
But they either haven't been told that, or the loss of their job has caused them to feel that way. And the other part, they have never had, and this is a key piece, is to have a network, collaboration. Yes. It's nice to have friends. I've got plenty of friends. I got my girlfriends, but there are people that you need around you that can help you with your resume, that can help you with your interview. Unless your mama is the CEO of a company, you need people to help you get that job.
You're absolutely right. And that again is the value. I mean, like you said earlier, our Dress for Success community is huge. We've got a huge network, And then our own individual networks are huge. And, you know, it's just leveraging that and opening that and, you know, opening those doors, you know, and I think that's something special that we are able to offer. Before I keep talking, because, you know, you and I can talk all day, I wanted to open up to see if there was any questions about either steps or heels from the people who are here with us today.
This is Edie. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm on mute and off camera, but I'm in the boutique working. So I was listening, and of course, I love this program and what it does. And I really like the helping women find jobs that they want, where they can progress in their work lives and so forth. But as you were talking, it occurred to me, Kim, you were saying, what can people who want to volunteer, or board members or other members who know about specific jobs, do to help? And I'm thinking, you know, I put up the job postings, and Willa posts things, and Kim, you send me things. But if there were a member who knew about a job in their company, it would be great to have a place, and maybe it's Working to Get Women Working, or maybe it's some other place, to just highlight that particular job. Because the jobs I put in the job postings are, you know, based on what's advertised by the companies, but it's general. It's like, these jobs are available, go have a look, see if they fit your desires and your, you know, skills, and apply. But if we had a member, a volunteer, who knew of a job in the department next to theirs or something, and maybe they would make an introduction, but they could post that job for the members who are looking for work. I
And
think that would
that's
be a great.
I do too, Edie. I think that's a fair ask. And I will tell you, you know, what was fantastic is that we had a member who'd recently found a position posted and sent me the job description and said, you know, do you know anybody here? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I do. And I sent a very short email to people that I knew there, and they were able to get her an interview. I mean, very, very quickly. And it was just that power of connection, because otherwise she would have been in a pile with everybody else. And so, you know, so having the job description, making those contacts, I think that in itself, and I mean, like you said, with the breadth of volunteers that we have, you know, if everybody told us about one job that they knew, that, you know, that in itself has tremendous value.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, just one addendum, because they could work the other way too. As the women go through the Steps to Success or the HEALS program, if they can define the type of job that they're looking for, perhaps we could post those and ask other volunteers if they are aware of any job openings that fit that category, and put them together.
Right.
That's the ultimate, Edie. That is the absolute ultimate. But I guarantee you, a lot of times these women aren't there yet.
I know.
That's the
I know.
part. That's
Because I work with a lot of them. But yes, I know you're right. But I did have
That's
that
the
one
point.
lady last week who said, I want to work remotely at a what do you call it, a phone bank. And that's very specific.
Yeah.
And
That's a good one.
if anybody
That's a
happens
good
to
one.
know anyone who has a job opening to work remote on a phone bank, let me know. Customer service.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Edie.
Yeah, but that's the ultimate, when you know somebody who's specific. But a lot of times, the other part is helping these women get into a routine. Or like we know that, and Edie, you know this from being there Saturday, there's a woman there that has not had any social media interaction whatsoever, that we have to strategize on how to help her find a job, right? Or how does she think she's going to find a job when she doesn't have those resources, right? So the other part is, how do we get women into a schedule and into a routine, and that accountability to go find it?
Right.
but nobody's gonna hand it to you. You got to work.
right,
You've got to go make the phone calls. You got to know what you want. I can't help you if I don't know what you want.
right. And I think
And-
that's one of the things, like people, you know, we're not a job placement agency. We
Right.
will connect you, we will help, we will support, we will train, but we are not ultimately taking responsibility for that. That is the role of the individual conducting the job search.
Exactly. And the staffing agencies, we know plenty, you and I both know plenty of staffing agencies. But at the same time, we can't refer the women to the staffing because it's like, well, what do you want?
Right. You can't just send a name and not have the direction. They need to be clear about that. Well, and
Yeah.
that's this session, isn't that this week when your kickoff is? What's your plan?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's tomorrow. The session this week is, let me look at my schedule. What am I doing? Yes, what's your plan and who am I?
Okay.
And then we go into the following week, we take who am I in the standout model,
Right.
the assessment, and showing how do you show up with people? What strengths do you demonstrate? So the next class talks about what's holding me back. Personal inventory, to start being honest about where you are and what's wrong.
Right.
What fears are sitting in the way? What's paralyzing you and what's stopping you from moving forward? Okay, or why in your personal inventory, you've got oil and vinegar relationships.
Right.
And then the next class is what are my behavior tendencies and emotions? And that's when we get into DISC
Right.
assessment. And then the last class is connections and community. It takes a village, empowering strategies, where we've got women talking about their life's journey and how they were empowered and what inspired them.
Right.
But again, we can sit here and we've got all the lovely classes, transferable skills, the interview with Bear, Talk Hire, LinkedIn, salary negotiation. I'm hired now. What? We've got everything on a silver platter to any woman that she needs that. You got to do the work.
Right.
Just
Right.
can't sit in the classes, take the notes. You've got to implement what you're learning.
Right. And I think it's a big step. I mean, it's making a commitment to yourself that enough already. You know, I'm done. I want better. I deserve
Sick and
better.
tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of them have never been through this, and on top of that, in all honesty, to your point, they've been hurt, and I get it. But we will go through that on Saturday and talk about that. But then that's the last time we're going to talk about it,
Right.
because I'm not going to allow them to continue to wallow in self-pity, okay, and not move forward.
Right. Right.
It's that tough love they loved me on Saturday, this past Saturday. Just wait till this Saturday. They're gonna say, uh-oh. This is
Right.
here.
It's the tough love.
It's the tough love that's gonna come out, that somebody's got to do that.
Right. Well, I think you said you got to have somebody to tell you your slip showing.
Uh-huh.
And
And
it's
I'm the
true.
one. And
Yep.
I'm the one. That's it. So
So,
I need to say goodbye,
yep.
because I'm getting ready to go talk to one of the panelists that are going to be on our event
last
on
session,
the
yep.
22nd. So I've got to coach her and let her know what's going on. So I thank you for the invitation, Kim.
Thank
It was
you.
great meeting everybody. And
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I'll stay on if anyone has any other questions about STEPS, HEALS, or any of our other programming that we have going on. Thanks, Willa.
you're welcome. Just make sure she doesn't give me anything else, guys, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, while you're gone. Any other questions?
Kim, I was just going to ask the question. This was great. Obviously, it's fantastic work, and updating the programming is, it sounds like it's spot on. How do we get the word out? Do we get the word out with suitings as well? Like when women come in, do they?
Both. They should be hearing about what programming is happening when they get suited. Social media, definitely. But I think the hindrance in social media is that it's only going to reach the people that are connected to us already, those
Right.
who are following, whatever. So in that regard, I would say we do get a number of women that are word of mouth from other graduates who've gone through, other volunteers or coaches that have participated. They tend to keep their eye out for people, I would say, and be like, okay, this is a good fit for you. Even this past week, when we launched on Saturday, the orientation, there was a number of women there who said, my cousin needs to be here. My friend needs to be here. Can she come this week? And the answer is yes. It's not too late. This is the first class on Saturday at 9:30 at Berkeley College. If anyone's interested, they can either reach out to me or on our website, there's information where they can sign up. And then we'll give them everything they need to know. But it is a lot of word of mouth. And I feel like I wish we could blast it out to everyone, because it is such a life-changing program, and anybody who's graduated from it can tell you the transformation they've had, but we got to get that word out.
So do we have a full class for Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
We had quite a few that were unable to make the orientation, so they were going to just come this week. And then again, the people who were there said, I'm bringing somebody. So hopefully we'll have a good group, but we won't turn anybody away. I mean, the more the merrier. What part of the change also that we did was it used to be like 12 weeks of a commitment. Where you had to go every Saturday for 3 hours. And I know, especially, I'm not a single mom, but I've got the boys, and the weekends are very crazy with sports schedules and everything else. So we tried to be cognizant that 12 weeks is a little bit too long. We shortened it and then did the rest virtually during the week. And the other great thing that Lorraine decided to do was to offer the recordings of those sessions in case that time didn't work for people. So the STEPS programs that Willow was talking about are the more tactical things with LinkedIn and all of that stuff. So they're able to get that kind of on their own schedule. And then just the Saturdays are for the heels.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
I have a question. I know that you said we're not a placement service, and people, they go through this training, they get great training, and they then have to go out and find their own jobs. And again, you have coaches and people like that helping them once they start identifying things. But we do have great corporate sponsors.
Yes.
And in certain instances, I think these sponsors might trust us in terms of helping them, find good potential interns or
Yes.
even people seeking jobs. Is there anything that we could do, or would we just put down this idea that if we got good in, let's say, something like project management or data analysis, which is something that everybody needs in every
Yes.
industry, could we develop an area of expertise where we say, we do this and people who come to our program get jobs when
Right.
they complete it? I know that is like, who needs to add one more thing to your plate?
No, not at all. That's very much part of the ongoing discussion that we have with our corporate sponsors. It's not just support our programming, but support our members. And the next part of that conversation is open the door to these jobs. And so some of the companies have offered to give our members access to jobs that would otherwise be posted as internal. So that gives them another chance. And then there's those others that, with like the one that this woman found, I just reached out to the person who is in charge of our sponsorship and said, hey, here we have a connection, and they made that work for us. I'm wondering if maybe one of the things that we can do is provide the members with a list of 2022, who are our sponsors and who are our funders. And maybe that's kind of like that's where you start first. Maybe that's the companies that you start to look at first and who we're connected with. That
I
would
think
be
that's a
easy.
great idea.
Okay. That
Yeah.
would be easy. And honestly, I feel as though it would be a value add to our corporate members, because then they're getting, the benefit of being able to hire a woman as well.
Yeah.
So
and-
where would we post that, or how would we get it to the members?
Well, let me just jump in. I think what you have to do is, I think to your point, Kim and Debbie, if we want to be outcome based, right? Which is what I think we're saying is the outcome is you get a job. I think we look at we give a list of the corporate sponsors, right? And I'm assuming people can look at their websites, they have job postings, but then, we can connect in and help make it more of a warm transfer. But I think,
Exactly.
ADP is one, right?
Right.
ADP is like right there.
Exactly.
And then even the colleges. But, I think, I don't know, Edie, if we spoon feed it as much as we say, here's the links the connections we're trying to make, take a look, we can take a look, you know what I mean, and curate it a little bit. But I think it's very.
I don't
different.
want to spoon feed. I
Well,
don't.
No.
You can't,
Right.
though. You can't, because it's a time, time is of the essence sometimes on these things. And by the time you send it around, all the jobs are gone, right?
Right.
Right,
So-
but what I'm asking is, do we put it in the monthly newsletter? Do we put it in the job postings, like a list of the sponsors? Do we
It could
hand
be
out
both. It could be.
at the end of steps? Do we hand out a list to the,
So-
people who participated?
I think, Kim, this is a good one to think about as far as our new strategy as we bring on corporate sponsors and they become a sponsor, right? This is one of the benefits, right?
Right.
Is direct engagement. But to Edie's point, we make that a little bit more specific. Like
Yep.
here's the website, here's the job posting website, right?
Yep.
For, whichever firm.
Right. And that's like Willa mentioned, the working to get women working. What we did as a value to those sponsors who did a level of 5,000 or more was put their hiring link directly on that website so that people could go and look. But again, they're going to have to be the ones to go and click, and then they'll
Right, but-
research it.
right,
But then
so
we
the
can
que-
follow up with
And
the,
keeping that fresh, right? Having not just
Yep.
having it be this, this dead end kind of thing.
Yep.
And
And
having
also,
a focal who, at the firm, like, here's
Yep.
the link and the focal is this person or
Yep.
something,
and also encouraging members to to follow Working to Get Women Working, because I think there are only 130 or 40 people signed up
yeah,
on that.
they are the steps, because it's funded through steps. They are the steps grads.
I also think too, I don't know how you feel about this, but we might want them to be steps graduates, because if you just say, okay, we've got all of these sponsors, and by the way, just by becoming a member of Dress for Success, you kind of have an in
Right.
to these companies. But if they don't have the skills, if they don't have, let's say maybe they're perfect, applicants, that's fine. But if not, we want them to at least get the training that they need. So
Yes.
that both the sponsors don't feel that we're just, giving.
Funneling anybody over,
I
right?
love it. And then you could even put it on your LinkedIn, right? On the
Exactly.
Steps for Success, Just for Success, whatever.
Graduates, yeah.
Graduate,
Yeah, that
know,
was one of the things we talked
2022.
about, was with the badges, the digital badges, and having that, because it is a status, because it shows that you've made that commitment, and
Yeah.
it shows that you're prepared and you've taken the extra precautions. Just throwing it out there for everybody. I mean, you may have the person that shows up to one thing and never comes back for anything. We can't vouch for them.
Yeah.
So I think from a sponsor perspective, we want to make sure that we're delivering the best that we
Right.
have to offer.
Well, and the other thing, being a career coach in the, aside from Dress for Success, people come to me and they say they want to make a career change, an industry change, and they look at the job postings and they say, I would like to do that. And I think I could do that. But in fact, when you listen to their experiences, you know that the person sitting on the other side of the desk at that company is going to say, first of all, you don't have any of the experiences that I've just listed in there in terms of
Right.
responsibilities. You may think you can do it. You may want to do it. Right, but you don't have the person sitting. So Yeah.
That's a
I don't know
echo-
what that.
That's the echo from the Facebook.
Yeah.
But I think so, Kim, one of the ideas would be at the last class, you get these links,
Yep.
right? So you stick around for the certificate, the end of the program. And this is one of the benefits, right?
Yes, yes.
Just a thought, there's a carrot. at the
Yep,
end.
yep. And for that, I want to invite you, for those who are not actively engaged in the program, to go to that last session. It really is something that it will be memorable. And it's something that for me always kind of reignites my passion for what we do, is when you see what's been done and you hear the stories and see the transformation. It's just that icing on the cake for being part of this organization. It really is. So if you're around and able, it is October, I believe the 22nd. It's a Saturday at ADP in Roseland. And we can send out that information as well. ADP has been a fabulous sponsor of ours. Berkeley College is hosting us. And they've rolled out the red carpet for us. They really have been wonderful. And we're very fortunate in the relationships that we have. And I think there's a lot more that we can do to show the value of those relationships. And the jobs is definitely one way.
Well, that would also be a story that we would want to capture for a website.
Yes, it would, indeed. Any other ideas, questions, or anything else you guys want to talk about before we end today? Okay, it's quiet. All right, so I thank you. Each town hall now, we will be trying to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the programming that we offer. So, this first time we did steps and heels. Next time we'll probably either do the professional women's group or Bridge to Success. Bridge, we're going to have to break down by component because it's so broad. And I've got to give kudos to Lorraine for really managing that whole piece, because there's so much involved in that scope of our work. But each town hall now, we're going to dive in a little deeper so that you get to understand a little bit more. If maybe all you volunteer for is the boutique, or maybe behind the scenes and you're not seeing these other programs, it might give you an opportunity to see what else we do. So thank you for being here with me today, and I will see you guys next month. Have a good one.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.